No, when we started, it was, in 2007. So we saw the opportunity in the distressed real estate market. So that's kind of when we started. Andrew was doing real estate before, and I wasn't. I was still in college, and I was an art history major, and I had nothing to do with real estate at all. But he had been working in real estate before. But for me, I came in when the market was down, and it ended up being really helpful for me actually to learn a lot.
What were some of the things you needed to do to get your skill level to what you needed to be in this field?
Listening to people, because I can't say that I didn't take a lot of classes and things I probably should have done, but just sitting in on meetings and just listening and writing things down and asking a million questions. I mean, I'm the person that after you have a meeting with me, I'm gonna walk out and literally pick Andrew's brain or one of the analysts' brain for like 20 minutes to be like, what do they mean when they said this? Or what? I just am constantly trying to learn because real estate is my background. So, I've had to just ask a lot of questions and speak up and not pretend like I know everything, because I don't.
I think that what you just said is such an important thing that a lot of people have a difficulty trying to not feel like someone was going to judge them for saying you didn't understand that, or they don't. A lot of, and especially women, we don't speak up because you don't want to feel stupid.
You don't want to feel stupid. Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of that, because I see it as it's maybe tough to speak up sometimes when especially if you're in a meeting with, we work with a lot of people that are significantly older than us, have way more experience, that whole side of it. So, it is hard in those times to kind of speak up, but I will, right after the meeting, I'll ask someone if I have a question, and just because I also think that I can look stupid if I'm in the meeting nodding and saying, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't know. So, and it doesn't mean I can't figure it out or I can't do it, it's just I need to ask sometimes.
I think that is the winning combo for what you needed to do to adapt in this scenario. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you face today, internally and also externally? So within the organization and then maybe in your personal life as well.
Okay. I would say in the organization, I would say that it's making sure that I stay focused, because we are doing so many things and I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. So for me, it would just be like staying focused on what needs to get done and prioritizing and just managing that type of, when there's so much going on, managing your time and making sure that things are still running smoothly. So I would say.
How are you doing that though?
A calendar, everything. I'm a list person. Everything has a list, a category, a color coordinated, like very, I try to be as organized as I can. And we do a lot of things like outside of work, like the networking, the open house, that's where I met you, things like that. And so there's also like times where I'll run back in and like write something down from a meeting I had or a networking event that I was at, because you forget, because you talk to so many people and do different things throughout the day that I constantly am writing things down, making lists, calendaring. That's how I stay on top of things, for sure.
Keeping yourself in check.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what about externally? Have you had any issues maybe trying to balance what you're doing here with your life outside of this job?
I would say that for me it's been fairly simple, because I can focus on work. I don't have a husband, I don't have children, I don't have a boyfriend, so it's all work. That's kind of where my not that I think it's going to be like that forever. I do plan on having a family at some point, but right now I'm happy with it and I'm motivated to keep going. So,
well, we hear about this concept of work-life balance, and a lot of times it is when you need to balance having a family and having a career. And I don't think that's necessarily true, because I think you need to have work-life balance before you have family. You've got to be able to separate those two things and know that you have that. Have you been able to, would you say that you have work-life balance?
Yeah, I would say that, because I have some family here that lives in San Diego. Most of my family is in Northern California, but my brother's here and my best friends, and I think that I make time for everything, I mean, there's a balance, and you just have to figure it out, I guess. I don't know how exactly to explain it, but I spend a lot of time with my friends and family on the weekends, and during the week it's work. And
would you say that this organization is very easy to talk to if you had something you needed to get done?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
very,
if your parents were flying in from Northern California,
Yes, and every time my parents come into town, they come into the office and see everyone. It's very much, it's easygoing in the sense of Andrew wants everyone in the office to be happy because when people are happy, there's more production and less stress. So I think that that's something that works here, is that you can bring your family in, you can take a day off if your family's in town. All that stuff is fine. We have, vacation time that we can use, and I think at the end of the day, as long as your work's getting done, I don't think he cares if you're in the office 8 hours a day. No one's, following you with a ruler and making sure that you're in at this time and you're having your lunch at this time. It's very much like whatever you need to do, as long as your work's getting done, is fine.
You mentioned that you want to have a family, and that's something that's important to you. And what I'd like to know is, when that day comes, what have you envisioned what your career will be like at that time?
I'd hope that it's, what it is now and much more. I'd hope to still be working, and I can't imagine, since I've been with Andrew from the beginning, I can't imagine not working. Not that having a family isn't important, it's very important, but I also think that I would like to, definitely stay with the company and make it work somehow.
So you feel it's possible that you could
I absolutely feel
have
like
a
it's possible.
family
Yes.
and maintain your career?
Absolutely.
So are there examples of people that you know that have done this before that make you feel
Yeah, I
like
mean,
it's
my
possible?
mom's a nurse, and she works all the time and always has, and she had myself and 2 brothers, and she was full-time mom, always there for us, never missed anything, and full-time employee. So I mean, I know that it's definitely doable. I'm sure she at times wanted to pull her hair out, but
Yeah.
she managed, and I think that that's an excellent role model for me.
So are there things that you're doing now to set yourself up for success when you have a family? Like, there's a lot of, important people that need to be in place in order to be able to have,
Yes.
So are there things that you're doing now, maybe unintentionally, that you think are, setting yourself up for being able to do that properly?
Like within our company?
Yeah, just with you personally, within the company.
Within the company, I've hired a bookkeeper now, so I don't track any of our books anymore, because that's what I was very time consuming. So I feel like just knowing when to delegate things, bring someone else in, when it's worth it. Obviously, I don't want to just keep hiring people because we want to do things in our personal lives, but just making sure that, I'm staying on top of my tasks, and when it comes to the point where I don't have time, that we bring someone in to help, and that they're the right person. That, our bookkeeper here is amazing, and she's way more than a bookkeeper. She helps me with anything that needs to be done, and so I think it's just knowing when's the right time to pull someone in and making sure that you're bringing in the right person.
Have you had, other than your family, you mentioned your mother several times, have you had any other mentors in your life?
I had to go back to my family. I have a ton of aunts and my grandmothers, just strong women all around me.
Really?
It runs in the family. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and my friends too. My friends are amazing. I have so much respect for all my friends. They work hard and just really good people.
Do you have any sort of business or professional mentor outside of family? Because sometimes, that unique perspective, that maybe isn't in the same field as you.
Well, I work with Trisha, who's our legal counsel here. I work with her, and she's also a friend from childhood. I've known her for 15 years, probably more than that actually. And she has a 2-year-old daughter. She's married. She works here. She went to law school. She's definitely someone that I look up to, and I think that she's always been there when I have questions to ask about, how do you handle these things. She's worked in a really corporate environment with the law firm before she came here, and so she's had both sides of experience, and I've never actually been in a big corporate company, so I don't know a lot of those, how they do things. So she's someone I go to sometimes, and I'm like, have questions about how to handle situations, with employees, or just any situations really. She's just very knowledgeable and always willing to help me out.
Would you say that there has been a lesson that you've learned the hard way?
Several. Yeah, a lot. I'm trying to think of a specific situation. In work, I would say I've learned things by not writing things down and forgetting things that would, and then you miss something. That's something that I try to avoid. But I mean, just in my entire life, definitely, you learn things the hard way, and you try to avoid it the next time around.
So what's the best piece of advice you could give other women that may want to move up within an organization? I mean, you were able to, obviously, yes, you knew him from the very beginning and you were friends, but you had to prove yourself every step of the way. I don't think it was just handed to you because you've been there the longest, right?
Yeah, I think you just have to have a voice and stand up. I mean, if there's something that's, you have a question about, or you feel like you could really offer something, just speak up and, obviously do it very respectfully and calmly. That's my problem, is that I'm a little aggressive, but calmly. And I think that if you're working with the right people and you're in the right environment, they'll respond to you. And, that's the key to success, at least here it is for us.